Human augmentation. Human augmentation is enhancing human abilities through exoskeletons, wearable technology, and brain-computer interfaces. For instance, exoskeletons are helping individuals with mobility challenges walk again, while brain-computer interfaces allow users to control devices with their thoughts. However, concerns around accessibility and privacy remain. The market for human augmentation is expected to grow to $298.5 billion by 2027, driven by demand in healthcare, defense, and personal productivity tools.
Judge governance. If there is no security, nobody will be at peace. We'll have a very dysfunctional society. And what the president has come out to say in his New Year's speech is very, very, very important, very paramount at this point in time, because we do not want to see 2026 being burdened with, terrorist issues of banditry, issues of, other threats and whatnot. And he also emphasized intelligence-led operations. I mean, that's what me, for one, have been pushing for, and I'm very sure all Nigerians have been pushing for. And, all other reforms. And something very important that he mentioned, to decentralize policing and, forest guards. And we've already seen them being rolled out from 2025 last year, where I think they have reinstated up to 7,000 forest guards, and yes, according to them, more are coming. And these forest guards are not just forest guards; they have been trained, and to guard all of those hard to reach areas. So I think the president's talk about regional and global partnerships too is very important. He's referring to bodies like ECOWAS. He's referring to the multinational joint task force, and even also AFRICOM, and even also the United States, who will help us to carry out that joint strike on the terrorism camp. So I think all these are very, very, very important, because we want to. These are things we want to see. We have seen intelligence failures in so many occasions, in so many cases, and we do not want to continue seeing that in 2026. Like Mary will always say, 2026 is a year full of hopes, and I think I copied that. This is a year full of hopes, and I'm very, very excited to see what this year brings, even if we're starting it with tax, I know.
All right, this is actually a good news, because everybody will want to, stay in an environment where there is tightened security, and that will bring a lot of peace of mind and make movement more free, because people actually do not flow or feel comfortable in an environment where there is insecurity. And I like the fact that the first thing he brought out was attacking that insecurity, making security stable in the country, making the people of the country feel very comfortable in the country, both doing businesses and traveling from one state to another. You know that you're secured. So I just believe that this 2026, this year, we're not going to experience much of what we experienced last year, 2025, about adoption here and there, I believe is going to, like I always say, that is pregnant of a lot of things, and I'm seeing one of the workings. So, the saying actually, so we're waiting and looking forward to the workings of this particular saying, and let people have more hope. It's one thing to have hope, but another to trust in the system. So, I just know that after this speech, many people will start trusting in the system to know that, okay, we'll be protected, our properties will be protected, our lives are protected, our children are protected even while going to school, because 2025 was a year full of a lot that most schools have to close down. Most students did not even take their exams because of the insecurity issues, and most families were separated from their loved ones. It was a year with a lot of things with it. But this year, we believe that this being said is going to be put into action and looked into critically, and then the people, I mean, we Nigerians will have this peace of mind to do our businesses, work, travel from state to state peacefully with the mindset that we are safe.
Okay, with the mindset that we are safe, we are just hopeful all together, just like Mary will always say, we are hopeful all together. And then the next story we have here. Okay, we're moving to Edo State. Edo State Migration Agency says more than 30 human trafficking cases are currently at different stages of investigation and trial in the state as part of renewed efforts to end the crime. The agency also confirms the rescue of trafficked persons and the return of stranded migrants. Speaking on Wednesday in Benin City, the Director General of the agency, Lucky Agazuma, said the progress recorded is driven by the commitment of Governor Monday Okwewolo to protect the safety and dignity of Edo citizens. He disclosed that 8 cases have been charged to court, 17 are under investigation, and others have been resolved, with several suspects already facing prosecution. The agency also reported the rescue of 28 internally trafficked persons, the return of 20 migrants, and hundreds of raids carried out during the year. Alazuma warned parents and young people to beware of traffickers who use false promises of opportunities abroad, adding that recent operations led to the rescue of underage girls forced into prostitution, while other trafficking-related cases remain under investigation. This story from Edo State, it doesn't always get that, sustained attention it deserves. They talk about trafficking in the world, not just even Nigeria.
Yes.
It's most likely that we know these things exist. It's like it's hidden in plain sight. We know it exists, but we hardly talk about it. And I hate to say that this case is always coming from Edo State, but then that, by the way, I just read now, should I even say Nigeria? Edo State has been one of Nigeria's hotspots for human trafficking in Nigeria, and I do not like to say this, but particularly for irregular migration to Europe by road. There's this movie I watched, Europe by road, all of these cases, and it's not so good. And this didn't happen overnight. It's because of some underlying systemic issues or systemic failures. We know poverty, we know unemployment, and we cannot deny all of these things. Then we move to the more technical aspect. There are fake travel agents who will come in disguise as if, because some people want to go to the abroad legally, and then you are presented with the options of, fake travel, which presented with which options? Do you even have an option? Do you even know? There are fake travel agents, and then all of this long standing trafficking network that has made that state, in particular those states, very vulnerable to these things. They should check the underlying issues. There are things causing this problem. You cannot just say something has been going on in a particular area for a very long time now, and you just see it as, okay, this is something these people choose to do. You will understand that there are problems that need to be tackled. We are having 8 cases already in court. I mean, this is not the first case. We have seen so many cases. 17 are still under investigation. In 2025, 28 internally trafficked persons rescued, 20 stranded migrants have been returned, hundreds of raids have been carried out. I mean, these are not small operations. Exactly. That means there's a problem. And we hate to look at the uncomfortable truth. But however, the uncomfortable truth here is
what
that,
we're faced with.
we must be honest here. Rescues are very important. They are very good. They are steps in the right direction. But prosecutions are better. What are we doing to perpetrators of this evil? Because it's almost looking like a necessary evil now. What are we doing? Yes, what are we doing? Because people will tell you that's the way we earn a living. So it's becoming a necessary evil. That's the way we earn a living. There is no job in the country. We are going out there to seek greener pastures, better opportunities, better education. Prevention, like I always say, is a victory. It's a victory, and it is always better than cure. So we should think of how we want to tackle this issue. Many of these young girls, sometimes they are even minors. They are, like we saw here, they are lured to all of these things without knowing, because they were promised of jobs, they were promised of better educations, they were promised of better connections abroad. Some families even unknowingly cooperate with these people.
Without knowing.
Oh, there's this sister, there's this uncle that wants to take my child abroad.
And train.
All of why will you leave a child to go abroad? It's because of economic depression. You cannot take care of this child, so okay, let's leave this child with another person to take care of for us, assisting, support. So these are where all of these things stems from. Poverty, we cannot deny that fact, that poverty is the major cause of this. Poverty, systemic failures. We do not have what is going to enable young people, especially young people, thrive in our society. So what would there be left? They'll be left with this option. So I just feel like the warnings are to parents, are to the government, are to even young people too. But warnings alone will not fix structural poverty. Let us understand that. Let us get that straight. Until we fix unemployment issues, until we build youth skills, until we, build local economic dignity, until we empower people, identify all those trafficking networks and bring them down, rather. All of these trafficking networks, we keep regenerating. They'll keep, bringing new strategies, no matter how we conduct the raids. But I just say I will commend for now. I can say I will commend the Edo institutional response to this matter, and I want to see them do more and tackle this issue, especially coming from Edo State, once and for all.
Like you said, they should actually tackle the issue for once and for all. So let's know what we're working with. This trafficking, it's happening as a result of, like you said, poverty. Poverty is one stronghold that makes this trafficking strive, because you won't tell me in a system where things are not working as expected, and then you have good promises of going elsewhere to go and get built, to go and get developed, and you will not grab it with your two hands. You see parents, some people will say, why would somebody give out their children? It's because they do not have means of taking care of that child, and they see someone that wants to help. They'll be like, okay, you can help me take care of, not knowing that what the person is going to do there is out, like it's something out of this world. So that happens. Some people are aware, while some people are not actually aware of what they are going there to do. At the end of the day, you see, the corruption keeps fueling, keeps coming. That's the thing. So I believe that when these people are being tackled, are being persecuted rightly, others will learn. Because as a result of others looking at it like, okay, even if they are charged or anything at some level of years, they will just let them go and maybe grant them bail or something. That's why people, maybe that's the reason why others are having this audacity to carry on, because the crime is becoming this. Human trafficking has been for years, we've been talking about it. If you see it come up right now, the next thing is to look like it's going down, but they are doing it low key in other communities and other states. So I believe that this Edo State, they are taking very drastic action, and this will actually teach others that they should not even venture into it. Like if you're taking somebody to take care of the person in school or anything or business, do it rightly, do it as said. Don't take the person in the name of business and then at the end of the day, the person is doing something else contrary to what you and the parents agreed or the guardian. So let's critically look into, yes, like the JAPA system. Everybody wants to JAPA for different reasons. So of course, you won't blame a lot of people that wants to JAPA from the country.
But then now let's move to KATSINA State, where workers across state-owned tertiary institutions in the state have issued a 2-week strike notice to the government, effective from December 29th, over unresolved salary reviews and staff placement issues and welfare concerns. The Joint Consultative Forum representing unions in colleges and polytechnics said yesterday that academic and non-academic staff are yet to receive the approved 35 and 25% salary increases, with arrears outstanding despite earlier assurances. The unions also raised concerns over what they describe as poor administration of the state's contributory health care system. They further warned that rising student fees are reducing access to higher education, forcing some students to withdraw. The union said they will review the government's response at the end of the 2 weeks and may proceed with a full strike if no agreement is reached. I mean, we're entering the new year with, issues. We're carrying, I think it's like we're carrying all the issues. But we like that these issues are not just being carried into the new year. They are carried with the intention of being solved. Yes. And now we are seeing KATSINA. We are finished from what is Edo State. You're seeing where KATSINA workers are, state-owned tertiary institutions have issued a 2-week strike, and their complaints are very familiar, but still troubling. We know of these things, but it troubles me because for long we've been talking about unpaid and unimplemented, salary increases. Now, KATSINA states are talking about 35% and 25% salary increases that have refused to be paid, and unresolved staff placement issues. So many problems contributing to even healthcare system, rising student fees. But these salary increases, they were nationally approved.
Yes.
They were approved by the government. They were approved adjustments meant to cushion inflation. So why do we keep, going over these issues again? So it's only right for workers when they say they haven't received them. It suggests that there are funding gaps, there are issues. Last year, when they were doing the round of of spendings and whatnot, especially because of the budget, they came out, was it the NDIC or so, that came out to say that most MDAs, that's most of these government agencies and whatnot, have not brought out their reports. They have not submitted their report for their spendings in the year. Why? We can only tie it back to there was no proper spending, or monies have been mismanaged. That's the only thing. So when we hear cases like this, that is where my mind travels back to. There are funding gaps implementation, or is either these funds have been, issued out, but they have not been properly spent. Or there are some lapses, some mismanagement issues somewhere. So all of these bottlenecks at state level arises, or how should I put it, problems. We begin to think, why will lecturers still be complaining about salaries? We are not even talking about national level, because I see that I saw in the news, was it yesterday, that ASU is threatening something too. They are trying to remind the government, and now we are not seeing this. This is at state level. So the deeper issue here, many people don't like to say out loud, and I will say it, is that most of these state-owned tertiary institutions are increasingly being underfunded. We are choosing to overlook them. Some of them are overstretched. Some are being politically neglected completely. It's almost as if they are not even in existence. And the unions are also raising concerns about rising school fees. That's another problem, which is very ironic too, because fees go up, yet staff welfare remains, unresolved. That creates like a trust deficit. What are we doing? And now we are starting this year. Taxation has started. I mean, my bank sent me a message this morning. I got a message from my bank this morning. So I'm looking at all these things. What are we using the school fees for? Especially with governments, what are we using the school fees for? Because some of these monies are supposed to go back to welfareism. So what are we using them from? And if I want to even take from student angles, the higher fees are pushing many students out of school. And we don't want to see more students out of school in 2026. We already know that the gap with the out-of-school children in Nigeria is very high compared to that of many parts of, even, I'm not talking of the world now, many African countries. So all of these instabilities is what should be fixed. it's very dangerous that a state like this is battling Katsina State. We know it's in the north. A state like this is battling insecurity. We'll still be battling, you know, and we know that insecurity is disrupting education already in most of these states. Now we'll not be battling education issue again because of unpaid salary. So where do we tie that to? I mean, we should look at this one. I just feel like this 2 weeks notice is a warning shot. It's not a war declaration, it's a warning shot, and they should, you know, pay heed to it. Because if dialogue fails, I just feel like strike is not the best option. I do not always like to opt for, you know, striking.
We've tested that strike something before,
we know what
so
it has done.
We're in a better position to tell you what it has done, because this would actually push a lot of children, like you said, out of school. And believe you me, when a child goes out of school for 5 months, 4 months, and maybe a miracle happens and the person returns, it's going to take a while for that person to start, you know, afresh, because it should not happen at all. I just believe that this year, like I always used to say, it's packed with a lot, and this particular issue now, it's coming with not just being complained at. I just believe there's going to be quick action to it, and they're going to look into it, because we do not want our children to be out of school. Plus, I don't know the reason why there will be made promises of payment, and at the end of the day, staffs will not receive the required payment. I don't know the reason why that happens continually. It takes someone that has money to actually be motivated for some people to want to go deep into what they're doing, because if you don't pay, how do they manage? What are the other things they have to put in place? They need money to do that. So you delaying their salary, you not being putting what is promised there would, you know, kill the zeal. Even when you say, okay, go back to school, we'll look into the issue, and at the end of the day they do go back, they might not even be lecturing with their full heart and mind, because they have their attention elsewhere. So I believe this should be tackled, so that anybody working now would concentrate and know that, oh, I'm working and I'm being paid for the job, because every worker deserves a pay, and the pay should be accordingly as it has been said. So we've been battling this since 2025, 2024. I believe it's 2026. It should be critically looked into, so that we can move forward. And we've always hoped that this 2026 is going to be a great year for us. So let it start. Let it start with the full payment as promised, so that they can actually move forward and will not be hearing 8-month strike, 5-month strike, and 4-month strike, because this year I don't want it to carry that baggage along.
Okay, let's move to the last story here. The National Association of Nigerian Students, Nans, has am I reading the... Okay, yes. The National Association of Nigerian Students, Nans, has commended nationwide mobilization of students to protest the implementation of the new tax laws, which officially took effect on the 1st of January 2026 today. In a statement issued on Thursday, Nans President Olushola Oladoja declared January 14, 2026 a National Day of Action, announcing plans for a peaceful mass protest and march to the presidential villa in Abuja. According to him, the protest will converge at the Unity Fountain. Nans faulted the federal government's decision to proceed with implementation, despite unresolved controversies surrounding alleged discrepancies between the tax laws passed by the National Assembly and the versions gazetted. Oladoja described the move as undemocratic and disrespectful to citizens, insisting that the reforms should be suspended until all issues are clarified. President Bola TINUBU had earlier defended the implementation, stating that no substantial issue had been established to justify halting the reform process. However, several stakeholders, including the Nigerian Bar Association and the Nigerian Labour Congress and the minority lawmakers in the House of Representatives, have called for suspension of the tax regime. Yesterday, I was talking about this on the Idea Morning Digest with Chinatu, that I have a problem with the fact that the president has chosen, and I told her that I want to play safe by not using the word disregard, but he has, how should I put it? It's more like he just overlooked.
Okay.
He has overlooked people's complaints and people's objections. We are in a democratic society. When a policy is being made, when a law or something of sort is being passed into law, if there are objections from citizens, because citizens are the people you are, trying to protect, you are trying to take care of here. So if you pass a law or something, or a policy into law, into action or whatnot, you should be able to hear from the people. And if the people say we have an objection, then listen to the people. It means you have the people's concerns at heart. But then, if you choose to overlook their discrepancies, their displeasures, then there is a problem. So I think I side somehow with what Nans are coming out to say. I don't know about the protest, because I was sharing with Chinatu that I saw on somebody's status that the person said he wants, we should be talking, Nigerians have been writing us their statuses about the new tax laws.
Okay.
That's not what he is hoping to see. He's hoping to see us come out, mobilize, and protest against the new tax law reforms. But now, I think this has a very serious and political and civic implications, because, the National Association of Nigerian Students says they want to mobilize for the new tax law, while the president have come out to say, okay, no, this must stand. This must stand. We cannot go back on it, and it is pro people. I'm using their words, Oyedele's words. It is pro people, and I feel like because Nans, first of all, have come out to argue that there are discrepancies between the National Assembly, what the National Assembly passed, and what was eventually gazetted. But the National Assembly came out because when the president came out and the chairman for the Committee of Tax Reforms, that's Oyedele, came out and say what was gazetted was not what was, what is in the policy, and it should be corrected. And now the National Assembly are saying, yes, it is. I think the fault was from their own ends, and they came out and did the regazetting, and, and they have come out to openly say that everything is okay, they can move on with it. But I feel like this allegation is very important, and it is one that we mustn't overlook. Because why did they come out to gazette another thing, and then the chairman of the Tax Reforms Committee is saying this was not what happened? It means there is a problem. It raises so many questions about legislative transparency and executive processes. We have to, I always talk about check and balances. Now, for it to be balanced, the president has said that there is no substantial issue, no serious, no substantial issues that is serious enough to suspend the reforms, to hold back the reforms. And his position, when I look at it, is good on one hand, because I am pro-tax advocate. I am that you must pay your tax.
Okay.
Paying your tax is very important. We are not the first country in the world that is paying tax, and I understand that we have been taxed directly or indirectly somehow ever since in Nigeria. But it's because a lot of Nigerians do not really understand. I'll come to education. I feel I'm talking too much already, but I'll come to education because I understand going back to the president's position. I understand the president's position. His position aligns with economic reforms.
Yes.
His position aligns with that logic behind economic reforms, that tax funds governance, tax funds the livelihood of the people, tax funds infrastructure and services. And I very well stand with that, and that is my own that's my stance when I say I am pro-tax advocate. I am that person. But unpopular opinion, again, I always have unpopular opinion, and Nigeria has a trust problem, and that is not coming from just because we want to have a problem, and it's not just about the tax problem. It's about failed systems.
Thank you.
People don't resist tax only because they hate paying tax. It's because they resist it because they do not see the value of them being taxed. They have not seen accountability over the years. They have not seen anything. No clarity. That's where I'll come to education now. That's no clarity. Because I've seen, I was reading a lawyer's post this morning on WhatsApp, and he was writing, I saw, he cropped Oyedele's talk about the tax, where Oyedele was laughing and saying the people that are being disturbed about this, worried about this tax the most, are people that do not even earn up to 500,000 naira.
Exactly.
And the NDIC have come out to say 98% of Nigerians cannot boast of having 500,000 naira in their savings.
Of course.
Come to talk of 1 million. And this tax now is going to be, if you're earning 20 million and below, your tax is going to be reduced or not even taxed at all if you're earning very low. Then if you are earning 20 million and above,
okay,
you will be your own tax will be, on the high side. So when you look at it very well, I was looking at the payee and tax whatever act. I was seeing the amount you pay. For example, Cynthia is being paid 300,000 naira in a month. I was seeing what Cynthia will be taxed. Mary is being paid 1.5 million naira in a month. I was seeing what Mary will be taxed. So I was just looking at it. I said, if I do my evaluations correctly, whether you are being paid 1.5 million naira in a month, it's equivalent to, I don't know, your tax is equivalent to what you are being paid. So it's not really different from if I'm being paid 300,000 naira and I'm being taxed so amount, and you say my own is reduced. It's reduced because I'm being paid 300. So what I'm being taxed from with is more like, it's still the same thing you are being taxed with. It's not just because you are being paid 1.5 million naira. When you remove, let me say you are being paid 1.5 million naira and they remove 500,000 naira from your 1.5 million naira, you are left with 1 million naira. So let's say they remove what is equivalent to 5 million naira in my own 300k. Are we not still paying tax equally?
Thank you.
We are paying equal taxes. So that's where people are complaining that
it doesn't change.
It doesn't. That there's something wrong. But I still go back to, I understand the government stance with taxation, and my major problem is not about being taxed. This is it. My major problem is not about being taxed. It's not the rates. It's not whatever. Everybody should pay their tax. We need a progressive society, and this is the only way we can build a progressive society. But my problem goes back to what we use this tax for. What are we using this tax for?
Exactly.
When student labor unions and even the NBA raise concerns, because the National Bar Association too are raising concerns, they are in objection of this. It only signals communication failure. People do not understand tax. I was opportune to learn about tax and understand how I was introduced to tax. That's why I'm pro-tax person. But a lot of Nigerians do not understand tax. They do not have proper education about how they should be taxed. So that is where the problem is. I think now this is where the Nigeria Tax Reform Committee owes Nigerians an explanation. Come back and educate people. Educate people in language they understand. I think that would be good. Instead of shading us, Mr. Oyedele.
Educating people on this tax is very, very important because, like you said, a lot of people do not understand what the tax is. Where they are saying and how they are saying it is, oh, they are coming to take our money from
us.
Oh, right now we're going to reduce. We'll be managing, and now the little we're managing, they want to take away from us. I want the government to be transparent enough to explain and expatiate very well so that they would understand where this tax is going, because a lot of complaints you hear out there is we don't even know where these monies are going to. We want to see taxes. We want to see what is used for. Yes, we want people to trust in the system because a lot has been going on lately, and trust me and believe me, nobody is happy about the tax except for Cynthia and I.
I am happy somehow, but where I'll have my own problems.
Yeah, because
it's when I do not see if this tax doesn't translate to.
Okay.
Exactly.
Over the years, people have
responsive public services.
Over the years, people have been talking about tackling poverty and tackling other issues, and now they are seeing it like instead of the government to come tackle the issues we've laid down for them to tackle, they are not even looking into it. They are not giving a response, and next thing we see, boom, is tax. And they are like, what's happening? Do you mean to tell us that this tax will be used to tackle these issues, or you're saying we should leave these issues aside and start paying our taxes? And it's disturbing for a lot of people because they're like, what is going on? We have pressing issues on ground, and what the government can come up with as 2026 new whatever is the tax payment and everything, is that what is important to them other than what we are going through right now? And many people are saying
they're like, this is how they do it now. This is not the first time I've patronized that place, and why will you add 15 naira? So all of a sudden, and then I saw on people's statuses today, somebody said he went to a barber's shop yesterday and in front of the, he even snapped it. It's not like he was even just trying to be, you know, funny or play jokes around it. That front of the shop, the entrance, the door, the barber pasted so charges included for
Yes,
VAT.
yes, because
So you see,
of
the
course.
problem now is not just the tax. That's where I will leave. I will leave where I'm going to leave the government small, and say, okay, you people are doing the right thing, but the problem now is down to the but the problem now is down to the value chain.
Thank you.
We ourselves, you know, that talk of Nigerians now, we they do ourselves.
Yes.
If you go down to the value chain, you start hearing, even cab drivers now, you start hearing,
Of course.
we have added so.
Of course.
If you are paying 1,000 naira now, maybe 1,100, 1,200.
Yes.
So that's the problem. The problem is with us, but maybe our time is far spent. The talk about that will continue for, I think, maybe the next
next month.
6 months this year.
Okay.
But we just hope everything gets resolved.
Exactly.
But then let's take you through the headlines we brought your way. And the first headlines we brought your way is that TINUBU pledges deeper global security cooperation in 2026, and Edo agency prosecutes 30 human trafficking cases rescues victims. KATSINA tertiary workers issue 2-week strike notice over pay and welfare. And lastly, Nans Mobilises students for nationwide protest over new tax laws. And that is the much we can bring you away from the headlines and review segment. But yes, stay with us because we are bringing the discussion segment, and it's something about the new year, about innovation, about global resolutions, you know, and a lot more that is shaping the world. Stay with us, don't go nowhere.
"5G technology. 5G technology promises to be a game changer by delivering ultra-fast internet speeds, low latency, and the ability to connect millions of devices seamlessly. It's going to fuel the future of smart cities, autonomous vehicles, and IoT devices, allowing them to communicate in real time. However, 5G rollout isn't without hurdles. High costs of infrastructure and regulatory issues in some regions have slowed down implementation. By 2026, the 5G market is expected to be valued at $667.90 billion, with the US, China, and South Korea leading the change. The challenge? Cybersecurity risks and data privacy will remain top concerns as more devices become connected.
Okay, good to have you back. You're still watching the Idea Morning Digest, and yes, it's time for the discussion segment. And like I told you, we'll be bringing something we want to talk about. This is something that, you know, as we are all stepping, or have stepped rather into the new year. Yes, we've stepped into the new year. All nations have stepped into the new year. Institutions, innovators, you know, citizens have stepped into the new year. We are not just making personal resolutions. You know, we are setting priorities that could redefine global processes. We are setting priorities that could redefine our nation, that could redefine the world, that could redefine our lives as well. But before we go deeper, let me ask Mary, what is your New Year resolution?
Since I would love you to answer first. Yeah.
I asked you first.
I would love you to answer first.
I wanted to say ladies first, and then I remember that I'm a lady. Okay, but then, do I have a New Year resolution?
Okay.
I guess we'll say it behind. Do I have? I'm not sure I have a New Year resolution. Seriously, like you say, I carry that hope, and I'm serious about it. I carry that hope you've always been, you know, talking about, you and our president. Yes, I've always been talking about hope. And from when the president, again, I guess that's just it for me. But what's it for you?
Okay. I won't say a lot because right now I feel, okay, let me fall into that your hope.
Okay.
Because it starts with the country.
Exactly. Let's just leave it at hope. So because this hope is very big.
It's very, very
we are talking
big.
about, it's not just for ourselves, it's hope for the whole, you know, world.
Exactly.
So we've been seeing economic reforms and digital innovation, you know, from climate action, we've been seeing security, you know, steps, you know, technology-driven governance. We've been seeing a whole lot of things. The new year comes with fresh communities, or commitments rather, I beg your pardon, fresh commitments and all of those renewed expectations. Like I said, I'm renewing my hope, I'm renewing my expectations for 2026. The ones I carried, both the ones I carried from 2025 and from other years, I'm renewing them again. And in this final discussion, Mary, we'll be taking a closer look at what the new year represents on the global stage. All of those innovations that are already shaping the world coming from 2025. We've seen a whole lot of things from the headlines, and I like to say again, point out that when Egusi went to space before me, those are some things we like to talk about and see. We saw things like DeepSeek, we saw AI. I mean, it was on the idea. We talked about it on the Idea Morning Digest. We talked about a whole lot of things. Even with social media platforms, we're seeing a surge in content creators. It's a new job. It's a serious job and it's a serious business right now. We've seen policy priorities. We've seen international bodies renewing development targets. We've seen what the AFCTA have been doing. We've seen what the African Development Bank have been doing, especially with new leaders coming into power. We've seen, not just in Africa, a whole lot of things around the world. We've seen what the US president's coming in from January 2025 down now to the end of January 2025, and now all of the things he's saying he's going to do in 2020. We've seen a whole lot of things. We've seen innovation-driven growth. We've seen it in industries, in education sector, like I said, in technology, and these are not just abstract ideas. All of these things affect our lives, like I said before, affect our jobs and affect everything. And Mary, when we talk of global policy reset in the new year, you'll notice that many governments begin the year by talking about reset, reforms, and renewed commitment, especially budgets. I've seen a whole lot of countries. So I think was it yesterday, which the day before yesterday, Togo signed theirs. I've seen in Cote d'Ivoire, I've seen Cameroon sign their budget for the country, the national budget. Even down to Nigeria here, states have submitted their budget. I saw that, was it 2 days back, Kogi State submitted their own budget. And all of these things is just to set space for the year, how the year is going to be, political reforms, economic reforms. Even in Nigeria, we're seeing a whole, going around them political preparations for the election that is even going to happen in 2027. We're seeing a whole lot of preparations. One person moving from one political figure moving from one political party to the other, and then until recently is Peter Obi moving to ADC, I think from Labour Party and all. And at this point, the countries are trying to reassess rather what worked for them, what failed, and what we need to ignore and what we shouldn't ignore. And we've seen economic restructuring and all of these things. So. But like I always, I like to have that a side opinion, that's unpopular opinion, because that sentence is, I want to call it a side opinion. No, that doesn't sound right. But I have an uncomfortable observation here, because all of these policy announcements are usually loud, and than policy execution. This 2026, I want to see, we've seen a lot of ambitious agendas. We've seen a lot of ambitious initiative projects in different parts of the world. But what we want to see is that all of these things follow through. We want to see, we don't want the reforms that will be halted because of lack of political interest, or maybe they are going against political interests this year, or maybe there are some funding gaps and not enough money, or some institutional weaknesses, or some systemic failures. So why I'm just saying this because while global cooperation and diplomacy are being emphasized at this point in time, I want to see how the worlds are going to be facing, how the rest of all parts of the world, every country in the world, every continent will come together and see how we can face some of these issues, economic issues, wars. We've seen Cambodia and Thailand just signed a peace treaty. But we don't know. We just hope that they solve that land issue once and for all that started since 2008, if I am not mistaken. And we want to see how Ukraine and Russia end their war once and for all. And some of the ones that are brewing in other parts of the world, we want to see how all of these things will end once and for all. Because whatever affects this part of the world affects this other part of the world.
I want to really see things working out. It's not all about the manifestos here and there. It's all about the putting in work in. Let it be visible for the people to see. Let this year not be like last year that just ended, that we heard a lot of things, but we saw little of those things we heard about. So like Cynthia has mentioned rightly, we want to see a lot of manifestations in this 2026. And yes, 2026, people are going to do what will work for them. A lot of people have their bucket list. You know that they
Yes,
have a lot of things they
yes.
want to meet up with in this year. And if the system is not working as planned, of course, it's going to affect
It's
every
going to,
individual in
exactly,
the
it's going to
country.
affect.
So the country needs to be forward first before the people follows. Because even if you want to do business, and then the economy is not the way you expected it to be, or is not bringing out things you want, your business will not thrive. So, like, as we all are expecting this year to be the best year, and we have our plans and goals and visions, we are hoping that 2026 comes this year that we are in right now. A lot of shifting and a lot of things will be put to place. We'll complain less and do more.
Okay.
And see more.
Let's even
And see
see.
more. Yes. So because when we see more, we complain less.
Exactly.
But when we see nothing, we complain more.
More.
Yeah.
True.
So we believe that everything is going to work accordingly to plan, because we've seen a lot of good promises here and there, good sayings, that if you read some of those articles, you'll be like, wow, yes, the government is
This one
working.
is doing.
Yes,
this one is something that is going to.
and some people might say, oh, this particular will favor me. You know, there's some things you read, you'll be like, this year, this one will favor me to help my business. So inside all of this, we just want the Nigerians to
as a luxury in this part of the world, because we see it as something that only advanced economies should be talking about, only advanced countries should be talking about. But today we've seen that innovation, especially let me use an instance with the digital financial space, all of these fintech, the fintech space. We've seen what innovation has become in this part of the world today. Take for example M-Pesa and all of those mostly fintech companies in Nigeria, in Africa, what they are doing. You come to understand with all of these things that innovation now is becoming a survival strategy.
Of course.
Let's look at artificial intelligence. I've seen a whole lot of chatbots and artificial AI tools being built in Nigeria too, especially and in Africa too, especially to tackle language barriers, because we know in Africa we have different languages. In Nigeria alone, we have so many languages. So we've seen people come out to build, all of these AI tools and whatnot, and we've been consistently seeing, digital infrastructure, automation, talks about it, fintech, talks in clean tech energy, and these are no longer futuristic talks again. They are no longer just trend talk, we should talk about it because they are trending. We've seen them swing into action from 2025, and in 2026 we want to see how these tools are going to be shaping government. It is already in talks, but we want to see it come into action. We want to see exactly how it is going to start delivering services to people in return. It has started, but we want to see more of that, and how businesses are going to compete healthily, and how business are going to compete, positively, and exactly partnerships, how we are going to bring in investment into the country, into our different countries, how young people are going to earn from all of these things. Like I mentioned, content creation the other time. A lot of people are earning from content creation.
Of course, yes.
A lot of business people are earning because of the online space, because of social media platforms. They are marketing their products there. Some people, that is their product, that is where they sell, that is what they are offering, those are the services they are offering. And we have to bear it in mind that innovation without structure can deepen inequality. So we have to put all of the structures in place. Take for example AI now. It can boost productivity, it can do a lot of things for us, but we are also scared. I know we've carried that question since from even 2024 entering 2025, we are still asking that question. And we should understand that in as much as AI can boost productivity, it can also displace jobs. Yes, it can also take away our jobs. But on the basis of, if you do not upskill, if you do not see what the future holds, if you do not see what innovation can, do for us, digital platforms, can democratize access, whether we like it or not. But if we look at the good side of it, they can also concentrate power in few hands. if that is only if you upscale, if you choose to, see it as a tool, not as something that has come to take your job out of you. And I like to look at technology as something that is very neutral, and governance determines whether it empowers or excludes. It's not, technology is not determining anything for us. We are the ones determining how it is going to work. Governance is what we determine if it is going to exclude people, if it is going to empower people, if it is going to include people, or upskill people. So I just feel like this is where our leaders need to talk about innovation-driven growth the more. Ask great questions about funding. How can we fund internally? And even if we must get funds from international bodies, it shouldn't be on the basis of reliance, dependence. It should be more of cooperation, partnership, support. It should come from that angle. We should begin to ask ourselves, who controls these things? Who benefits from it? Who is left behind? Innovation must be human-centered at the end of the day. Otherwise, it's going to become just an impressive idea, but then leaves us in that unfair situation, in that unfair stance. But then, talking about economic and survival, I know our time is fast spent, but then what are your last words about, economic survival, innovation, and change and this new year?
I feel at this point, the change is very important and necessary. Very, very necessary. And I know that things are going to take shape gradually, because we're just entering the year. When the economy is good and balanced, and when things are being put in the proper way, there won't be need for people to japa from the country, because the country is yielding fruits. So yes, I know that the government is going to work out things and stand by the definition that said government for the people and with the people. I know that's going to work soon.
Okay, very, very interesting, Mary. And okay, for me here, I'll just go back to young people and the role of citizens and young people in the country. I think young people might be the most hopeful. Let me go back using your word again. They might be the most hopeful part of this conversation when we look at it very well, because we've seen across the world, especially in the global south here, a lot of young people have been doing a lot of things, like the fintech I gave example with, like what do they call them? What's this? What's the name? Why did I forget? But a lot of fintech stuff, innovations have been held by young people, have been created by young people, initiated by young people. So I feel like young people, if we look at it very well, young people are no longer waiting to take to be given permission. They are taking permission by themselves. They're building a lot of startups, creating a lot of digital platforms, shaping narratives, organizing movements, and they're resolving so many problems these days. We've seen within Madagascar, or where the Gen Z movement and whatnot. And innovation has been doing so many things for us today, and this is where government offices, government bodies should take heed and say, okay, what role can we play to support the country, to support youth, to see how we can move to a better society where we can have a better structure. But that's the much we will bring your way this morning. We've been talking about new year, new direction. We've been talking about choices. We've been talking about a whole lot of things, because resolution without responsibility we just end up being slogans, so we just end up being talk. So let's do one for innovation, let's do one for inclusion, let's do one for progress. And this is where we leave you on the Idea Morning Digest today. My name is Cynthia Bassi. Do well to send your comments, join the conversations. What do you hope for the new year on the global stage? What do you hope for innovation? What's your direction this year? What do you think is the direction of your country this year? We want to hear you. We want to hear from you. Send your message to us, send your thoughts, send your opinions to us at Idea TV Limited. That's our email, and across all our social media platforms at Idea TV. My name is Cynthia Bassi, and
my name is Mary Ojimajo, and thank you for watching.
All right.